right, we're back on the record. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption, but that was necessary.
Yes, sir. I understand. Sir, I will be mercifully brief. Now, I want to discuss a couple things that were brought on across the presentation. One of the points that was raised was about your relationship with Michelle Cliff. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And there was, I believe there was testimony that relationship was caused you and Sergeant King to have a discussion about whether or not he was being critical of you because of that relationship with Michelle Cliff. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me about the relationship, or better yet, tell the personnel about the relationship with Michelle Cliff.
Me and Michelle have known each other since high school. We hadn't really had much contact up until she came in. Had any contact since high school. We met at a friend's Baughman football. She was going through the same thing I was going through. I had a boy there. I needed some companionship, a friendship, somebody that I could, that believed in me. And she was the one that helped. Vice versa. She was going through the same thing I was going through. You know, we were there. We understood what was going on, what we were both going through.
Now, even though you had this relationship with Michelle Clifton, the divorce and the associated financial file take its toll on you?
Yes, I do.
Now, I want to go back just for a second to that meeting in District 4 with Sergeant Hughes, Lieutenant Henderson, Sergeant Rigo, and yourself, where we discussed that you had kind of an emotional outburst, if you will. How did that make you understand what was happening?
It brought to light that, as hard as I was trying to keep my personal life out of this, was on the call. It made me realize that I was having some issues and problems. I wasn't coping to 100%.
Did the situation, did it have any impact at all on your relationships with your peers and supervisors?
Yeah. Yes, it did.
Well, explain the personal report how.
They distanced themselves from me.
Who?
My coworkers, my supervisors, they show up on my calls. It's hard to explain. It did cause problems.
Okay, well, let me just explore a little bit, and
I'm going to object politely. My legal objection is relevance. This is new stuff that I didn't cover in a cross-exam, and I'm just a little bit sensitive because I get a chance to ask questions and peers and all this stuff, and I didn't ask it on cross. I don't see how it's relevant, and I didn't ask about it on cross. And now we're on redirect. We're opening up new doors, and so this is hardly unusual.
I want you to have a full chance at your deal, so I don't think you're going to spend long.
I'm not.
Could I ask one thing respectfully? Could either Mr. Lynch or the chairman respectfully request the witness to raise his voice? He's very soft-spoken and it's a little bit hard.
Can you sit down?
I will
Thanks. With respect. I know you for a while, so I feel like I can be direct with you. You said that supervisors were showing up on your calls. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how did that make you feel?
That they were questioning my ability.
Okay, and go ahead.
You know, that they were questioning my ability, and that they didn't have faith in me.
Okay, now,
And ordering me to do this, what I thought was legally right, and charge something at a higher charge. And
well, looking back, do you feel like the circumstances in your personal life were making you a bit more sensitive than you might have ordinarily?
oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you can't help it. Going through a divorce, losing your wife for 23 years, losing my house, wife kept the house, living off what I was making, now paying rent and everything else. Yeah, I was very sensitive.
Okay. And so when you say sensitive, you're sensitive to everyone, including your supervisors? So if they came to you with criticism, whereas before all of this, you would just maybe accepted it and try to improve, move on. Was it different after all these circumstances came to bear and you started receiving criticism?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. Explain the first time how.
I was more defensive. You know, I knew that, like I said, I was more defensive.
Do you wish now you would handle those interactions with your supervisors differently during this period of time?
I did. And I wish we could have sat down and really, discussed it without jumping to the severity that it did.
Now, we've already gone across this bridge, but let me ask you a direct question about it. One of the things that you are accused of is being inattentive to your duties in reference to the September 7, 2014 call involving Jim Doe. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Looking back now at the events that took place, do you feel that you could have handled that call better and should have paid more attention to what was written in the report?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I own that. Yeah, I did make a mistake in not catching the discrepancies on the I own that 100%. I'm not going to deny that. And that opened up a lot of questions, a lot of doors. And all I can say is I'm sorry. Chefs on the crew, not robots. We do make mistakes. And when I was being told to it by D&O, it was there in my mind, and that's what, when I read it, that's what I see.
Now, okay, no more questions out there. Appreciate your time. Anything else?
2, 3. Mr. Baughman, on redirect, in response to Mr. Gross's question about looking back now and saying that we should have done it differently, or would have done it differently, you say you're going to.
I do that, yes. I own that I was independent, and I didn't catch the discrepancies that caused this.
And you agree, do you not, that those are violations of the Volusia County Sheriff's
I did.
directives?
Yes, sir, I did.
But you didn't own up to that.
I wasn't completely
previously.
understand what you're asking me. But yes, I do own up to that. I was a tenant. I should have caught that. Like I said, all I can say is I'm sorry, I'm not on you.
You didn't take complete ownership. This is my last question. I withdraw right. Sorry. You didn't take complete ownership before the sheriff or with Mr. Smith, did you?
No, I didn't come out and apologize for making a mistake.
Let me be a little more specific. You did acknowledge your performance as violating any of the directives that you're charged with.
No.
Thank you.
Any questions by the board?
I have a question, and then I have.
Go ahead, because I heard it.
I have one simple.
Well, you better get in line with this trend.
Should I start?
Please.
Okay. I have a lot of different questions about different subjects, because my goodness, we've heard a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to jump around. All right. An easy question that I have is on, let's see. Exhibit, and I'm just curious about something. Exhibit 10, included in this reprimand, you're hereby ordered to attend a human diversity course. Did you do that? Did you go to the?
Back in, yes, ma'am. I did.
In 08? Yes. Okay, good. And then, in Exhibit 8, it says in exhibit, there's a phrase in there in Exhibit 8, regardless of the victim's wishes. Okay, I read that, and I'm confused about something. Because if it says that in Exhibit 8, then go back to the original, the battery charge, you know, where the mother was there and the daughter and all of that incident, deputy, okay? Then what is the difference? When do you press charges and when do you don't? And when don't you? I mean, how does an officer know to do that? Because I'm looking at two different things, and in Exhibit 8 it said, regardless of the victim's wishes, you should have pressed charges. And yet, because of the victim's wishes, you didn't press charges in the other incident.
It's my routine that if the victim does not want to pursue charges, then we don't file charges.
And you just don't.
We don't file charges on them.
Okay, you just make a recording of it. All right. Then, in Exhibit 19, you said, I thought I heard you say, you misunderstood what was in this memo about when you were supposed to work and when you weren't supposed to work. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Then my question is simply this. I see your signature on all these pages, and if there was a misunderstanding, why didn't you ask questions about it at the time? Because you signed it, and to me that would indicate that you understood it.
I was under the assumption that it was between the specified dates. That's how I understood it.
So are you saying to me that you signed this thinking that you understood it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thinking that it was between those dates that I could not work any extra.
And then, some of my questions you answered for the attorneys. I just have two more things, and I'm curious. When the mother and the daughter were there, and she said, no, I don't want to press charges, and then at the end she wrote, yes, I want to press charges. Did you read that? Did you read her statement?
I did read her statement. I read her statement.
But did you read it quickly, slowly, or did you skim it? What did you do?
I quickly skimmed through it.
And is that usually what officers do? Or is that what we're supposed to do?
We're supposed to notice discrepancies.
Okay. With all of this said that has happened these 3 days, if you would continue working with Volusia County Sheriffs, tell me concretely, what would you do different? If you had, let me rephrase that, if you had something happen in your life that was very disturbing to you, because we all have trauma in our lives from time to time, that's just life. And so if you would continue working and you had trauma in your life, what are you going to do so that it doesn't affect your job like all of this had? I mean, by your own admission, you said it affected you.
Yes, ma'am.
And how are you going to control yourself?
I would initiate an EAP. I would, now that I've been through something like this, I mean, I know that I would initiate EAP. I would reach out to counselors. I would, I wouldn't, the last thing I want to do is put anybody in harm's way and put myself in harm's way. And, that did take a major toll going through what I did for those 2 or 3 years. Like I said, going through it, had gone through it, I would request, time off. I would request, hey, I need to get my stuff straight. I need to get straight before I come out here and I hurt somebody or I hurt myself up.
And when you were having that difficult time with the divorce and the bankruptcy, you said you didn't even think about, I don't remember your exact words, Debbie, but it led me to believe you didn't think about taking time off, not even a short span of time when you were going through all of that. Are you, answer that first, and I have one more question, I promise, and then that's it.
I did think about taking time off, but I didn't think it was to the extent until the night of me being pulled in and sent home. The bill severity of it. Like I said, I was financially unstable. I was just coming off of light duty. I needed the money. I couldn't have the time because I burned up all my FMLA time.
Okay. And then my final question is, when you were in the incident with the mother and the daughter and all of that, you stated several times, you emphasized several times, how much of a hurry the daughter was in because she had to catch a plane. What was your demeanor like at that time? Were you caught up in her frenzy, or do you feel you had control of that situation?
I was trying to get as much information as I can to that case. Yes, she was very rushed. I was trying to get as much and help her out as much as I possibly could.
She was rushed, but that didn't mean you had to be rushed.
Well, I had to get the information from her, and she was flickering back and forth between Mom, which took time away from me and her. Mom was interrupting us.
And I understand that. I understand what you said, but then somewhere later, it was brought up, I don't remember if Mr. Litch asked the question, or Mr. Moore, something about what would you have done differently? And then you answered that, which led me to believe that you would have taken more time, and she still would have had to catch that plane.
What I would have done examine the sworn written statement that she provided, and discrepancies between the two. I mean, I was with her for an hour. And she was, you know, she was rushing the whole situation, me and her.
In my convoluted questioning, what I'm trying to find out is who was in control of that situation? Were you or was she? And did you feed into her frenzy?
I would say she was, because I was trying to conveniently help her and get her on time to her flight.
I think that's it for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know that.
I have a simple question. How long was your EAC?
Month and a half, 2 months, I think, 5 sessions.
And 5 sessions with the same council?
Yes,
When did you get employment with the county?
August of 2006.
August of 2006. And so today we have focused during these 3 days more on your personal reactions to problems that you were experiencing as an individual. But yet reprimands go back to 2007, 2008, 2008, from May 2008, October 2008, November 2008. I mean, it continues. How many do you think it should take for a person who's supposed to be knowing the laws and enforcing the laws to say, yeah, I need to be responsible?
To answer your question, I don't feel any of the reprimand are repetitive. It's all something different.
So then are you saying that you just are totally do not have the characteristics that it takes to be a deputy?
I believe 100% I do.
But yet you cannot follow what the sheriff's standards are in that department. If you cannot read those rules and follow them, how can you say that the taxpayers of Volusia County should be paying your salary?
I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer that.
You know, if your poor judgment was just one time, maybe 2, but it is historical from the time you started, within a year. So how many does it take before you have to say, okay, I need to do something? And is it anybody else's responsibility? See, I believe that the County of Volusia does not operate to give somebody a job. It operates to provide service to the citizens of this county. And if you can't fit into that, and especially when you come and your whole defense is on problems that you're having personally, I just cannot buy that. Because there's not a person who doesn't experience these sort of things. But you don't use it as an excuse not to do your job. I'm all
I
right.
want to see probe the value of this question.
All right. But I mean, I guess my whole thing is the fact that their defense is based on that 2014 incident. And yet it has been constant throughout with the reprimand.
I want to fall back on our role as a board.
Okay,
To
with
let them
defined facts.
let them present their defense.
I have to raise an argument at this point. I don't want to, it's my obligation to do my
Have
comment.
at it.
It seems as though the board members already made their mind before the close of the day. And that's not the role of a board member to midway through the hearing before the evidence is closed. They've already formed their opinion about it.
This is my first first time, and so I was thinking it was. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So, with all due respect, it's not appropriate, and I feel compelled, even though I don't want to politely suggest that the board member be recused because she's already made a decision for the ethics has been ordered.
Didn't you allow me to ask him the questions?
Ma'am,
Anything
with
that
all
I
due
had?
respect, you were making declarative statements about your beliefs about the merits of the case. And that's not an appropriate thing to do in my mind, and from a due process perspective, we're a decision maker before the close of the evidence.
I've heard, if I may, I've heard the objection, I've heard the question, and your editorial comments. But that's okay. We're back in fact-finding board. We're going to deliberate after this conclusion. And I believe that, I don't see any
And I guess I was out, but I was thinking it was my only chance to answer him. And so
So my motion is denied then? Does I understand?
Any board member is we're able to refuse them something at a time. I'm saying my opinion is that that doesn't rise to that level. We did ask for a recuse or something.
With respect, just for the purposes of the record.
It's on the record.
I just want to disagree that I believe she already won any based on her statements. And I feel at this point she should be recused for improperly making a decision on the merits of the proposal. With that, I'll shut up and I'll move on.
I don't.
Kelly, you respond?
No. I think I can ask her to step down.
I would like to add that to the extent that you all are asking questions and making comments of this witness, this is his opportunity to hear what you all are thinking and to respond to those things. So, he should be given full opportunity to the extent that he needs it to respond to the things that you all are asking him and what you're saying, because these are the voting members of this board.
The comments all the way around, and from our standpoint, it's difficult sometimes to ask for the question. After the question does not reflect an opinion, but it's our role not to preach at the witness or anybody, but to only do that kind of work.
that's good principle.
All right, do we have any more questions? Or is it wrong?
I do have some, I guess it would be redirect, if you don't mind.
Lost track of the word, but if you have another question.
I have questions, we'll put that way. Were you finished, Jim?
Oh, I was just wondering if maybe, there was one other one that I wanted to ask you. With the reprimands that you could receive, did you ever file any kind of grievance or anything like that objecting to that?
Sir, the board member asked you questions about the discipline you received early on in your career. Briefly, they're 07, they're 08. There's actually, well, just briefly, County's Exhibit 8 is 2007, County's Exhibit 9 is 2008, County's Exhibit 10 is 2008. County Exhibit 11 is 2008. County Exhibit 12 is 2010. When were you made FPO? And the role of a field training officer is to train the newbies. Yes? Okay. And so, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know all the whys and wherefores, but as an FTO, you're entrusted with a trainee. And part of the FTO course is essentially a ride along with the trainee. Is that correct? Yes. And this one, you're not classified as FP2, you're only classified as FP1, is that right?
Classified as W1.
Okay. And so, as an FTO, you would ride along with this person, and it would be your role to examine their performance on a shift, and if you found shortcomings, point them out, document them. If you found positive things, point that out as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it would be your job to scrutinize that deputy one, that newbie, to see if he or she had the acumen, skill, the knowledge of the law, the police safety experience necessary to do the job properly. So you were entrusted, despite these write-ups in 08, 09, 10, you were entrusted with this FTO position despite these write-ups, yes?
Yes, sir.
And how long did you serve as a field training officer?
Up until January.
So, despite the fact that you had letters of reprimand, you were, let me back up a second, FTOs. Now, there's probably what? How many sworn in the department?
How much sworn FTOs?
No, sir. How many sworn employees? Yes.
I would say 400 or 500 maybe.
And do you know how many FTOs there are approximately at any one given time?
The last I knew of, there was probably 35, maybe 40.
35. So, doing some quick math, how many did you say sworn?
400 or 500.
Okay, so let's go with 450, just out of a round number. And you said about how many FTOs?
35.
Okay, 35 about 40. So 7%. 7% approximately of the sheriff's office total sworn complement of officers or deputies are chosen to be FTOs. So don't suggest that FTOs are among the best comprised, they're not. So the best of the brightest, you were chosen FTO despite having zero reprimands in 07, 08.
I'm not objecting.
Yes.
I'm objecting to the characterization as the best and brightest.
I think we can let the numbers stand.
Now, and you're also given a number of performance evaluations during your time span as a
I'm not objecting now. You know, we went through direct, we went through cross. How long are we going to be here?
You know what?
I didn't
in
answer
interest
the
of-
questions related to.
In interest of the board member's time, I'm just going to let this witness be released. If there's no other questions, and I'll move on to Sergeant Baughman.
Hearing no more further questions. No further questions. I'll get down quick.
You may wish to leave the zip code. I'd like to call Sergeant Baughman right now. You don't have to leave.
Which one you got contact? Which one can you see for? Which one you got contact?
Mr. Chairman, I need a couple minutes to find Sergeant.
I'll start with that.
That's the motion you give. Because we probably pay him so much. He's every time. I'm gonna ask. That's what I'm asking. Who do we pay that to? Holiday? We had 2 meetings with him. The first one was that he's not gonna get it. The next one goes, oh, we have to give him 200 grand. We don't break. Here's another.